Dr. Ann, I can't believe that just a year ago we did a lecture together on hope, courageous hope. And here we are a year later expecting a book, Raising Hope, 4 Paths to Courageous Living for Black Youth, to come out in the fall. I think of course this was my first time writing a book, and I was, blessed to be doing it with you. But it was incredible how difficult it was for us to get the book done. I would love for us to share with youth ministers about why it was so difficult for us to get this book done and get this book written.
Yes. Well, certainly, first of all, it doesn't seem possible that it has been a whole year. And has been an incredibly rich journey of writing with you. Mm-hmm. But you're right, it was difficult. And I remember the conversations that we had in which I would say to you, I don't know whether I can keep going on this because it's so hard. And you asked me, well, Dr. Ann, what's so hard about it? And all I could say, almost in tears, was our young people are going through so much today. And in the process of a year, we've had several young people who have been killed.
Yeah.
We've had the continuation of intra-cultural difficulties and violence. We have all sorts of concerns for the future of our youth. And all I could think about was what was going on. And it was difficult to type or to process or to put it on hard copy as all of this was going on. And so I literally had to think through, somehow we have to have courage enough to write this book and to get it out, to tell the story of what's possible, and to really herald the hope that there is for our young people. And one of the things that came out of it all was the assessment that is often given our youth, that they are youth at risk. Mm-hmm. And I wanted to twist that around and turn it upside down and say, no, they're not youth at risk, because if they are, the whole community and the whole society is at risk. But rather to say that these are youth of promise.
Yes.
And the minute I could say these are youth of promise, with whom we must create with them a promising future.
Yeah.
With them a promising future, and advocate for them a promising future. Then it became a little easier to write and to keep going with the book.
I think for me, like, the difficulty was almost feeling like I had a right to tell the youth that they had to hope amidst such challenging circumstances that seemed to play out historically. And the kind of like what you say in your lecture, when is that someday going to come? Like, when do we reach a point where hope isn't about survival, where hope isn't such a necessity, where it doesn't require so much courage to hope, But I think just about just feeling like, man, I have to keep telling youth to hope, and it's amidst such difficulty, it's amidst such challenging. And I think what you just named about that actually presents an opportunity for me to join with them in this process, because it is about walking with youth and helping to create the possibility for them to hope. That when we ask youth to hope, it's not that we're asking them to hope alone, but it's that we're saying that we're accountable to you, that it's not possible for circumstances to change unless we get in there with you and walk with you and journey with you. And so I think when I began to realize that the book we were writing on courageous hope was more a call for me to be courageous, in order to, you know, as I tell youth to hope, it became not easier, but it became just a call to action. And Joya Mercury, she came in a class I taught this semester on joy, and she said something that sticks with me about hope. And she was saying that, and she does a lot of work with Partners in Health, so in global context. But she said, I don't have a right to give up on a mother over there who can kind of barely make it, you know. And I feel the same way. Like, you know, we have to figure this thing out. We don't have a right to give up when there's so many of our youth who don't have advocates. And so...
Yes. And, you know, I begin to think about young people going to a high school graduation and seeing young people walk across the stage and receive their diploma, you know, in a community of young people where it's tough.
Oh, yeah.
It's difficult. And to see the joy and the hope that they had just in walking across and receiving that diploma and shouting, you see, and caregivers and parents and other youth shouting and yelling, you know, that's hope right there, you see. And then when I think about the Youth Hope Builders Academy, just the other day, one of our Hope Builders received his Ph.D.
Oh. And
during their celebration in another state, called me in Georgia and said, we got a celebration going. We're all here together. We're going to put you on speakerphone. Would you just say something? You know, and his praise was, I didn't know it was possible to even think about, much less get a PhD, until I met you. That's hope.
Yes, it
right
is.
There. So, you know, when you say to twist it around, turn it upside down and say, no, not youth at risk, youth of promise. These are the stories, and there's so many others that say hope is possible. No, we do not have a choice not to hope.
That's right.
Absolutely, we have to have it.
And I mean, even when you talk about youth of promise, I mean, part of what we do as people who minister to youth is we help youth see their promise. We help see it in themselves, and we help see it around them. Even when things seem unpromising, it's almost like making a way out of no way, as the womanist scholar Dolores Williams talks about. But opening up the path to say, no, you have a promise, you know, and you are the promise. You are the promise. And even the ways in which they do it with themselves, and as we've seen in Youth Hope Builders Academy in our work, how often youth will say that to each other through, you know, affirmation of one another, of just this reminder that you are the promise of the future, you know.
Yes.
Thank you.